Hi everyone, I'm Dana Kohut, founder of the Prime U, series of interviews with top business and technology leaders. Today my guest is Prajwal Barthur, VP of Product at InMobi, a global technological company that specializes in digital marketing and mobile advertising. Prajwal, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. And my first question is about your career progressions. You used to work at Yahoo and now you are part of InMobi. Could you please talk about the steps that have led you to your current position?
Sure. Thanks, Diana, for having me. Good to be here. To just start with the brief background, right? I think I've been in the tech industry, product tech industry for about over 10 years now. I started my career back in India and joined Yahoo as an intern. Spent about 6 months on the internship and then ended up working with Yahoo for about close to 4 years. Those were probably some of the best times Yahoo had back in the day. A lot of good technical leaders, learned quite a bit working with a bunch of folks at Yahoo back in Bangalore. Got a chance to also work with a lot of people in the valley as well during that time. That period of 4 years shaped who I am currently in terms of the aspirations of how you become a leader in terms of product technology. It paved the right path for me at least. With Yahoo, I was working on data products. I was a part of location-based products as a lead engineer. I also was a part of a bunch of hack days, what Yahoo used to do. University hack days. I used to conduct them in Bangalore as well as in the Bay Area. That gave me exposure to a lot of things new, and I learned how to understand breadth and depth both at the same time. I would give a lot of credit to my time at Yahoo for what I am currently and how that's kind of shaped up. 4 years into Yahoo, I was looking at a bunch of things that are happening in the advertising ecosystem, in the TV ecosystem specifically, and a couple of us decided to start up. And then when it was 4 years, I thought it was time to do something new, and I quit Yahoo, and then a couple of us got together and then started a company. It was called Amplify Labs. We did a few products when we were there. One of them really did well in the Indian market as well. Did that startup for about close to 2 years. One was a social app. Back in the day, Foursquare was something that was used quite a bit. You could check into places that you go to. Similarly, we had a concept of checking into TV shows. So we had an application which let people tell others on what they were watching on television. So we built technology around that. We built a lot of ways to recognize content on television, and then built that. There were some issues with go-to-market of that, and then we pivoted that into a more B2B SaaS kind of a product, and then got into advertising. So that's my first product that I started working in advertising. That was doing well as well. We had an analytics product for video marketers. We used to provide competitive intelligence around how their video ads were doing online. And then we were running that for about 6 to 8 months. And then we had some unforeseen circumstances because of which we had to do our own things. So we had to shut that down. And that's when InMobi happened. InMobi at that time was and is one of the best companies to work for in India and in Bangalore. And a lot of people who are at Yahoo are at InMobi as well. In fact, I went to InMobi to kind of sell some of the things that we were doing when we were wrapping up. And instead, I liked the company so much and people who were there that I ended up, working with InMobi. That was kind of my, path to joining InMobi as a product manager. I had in my head always decided that if I was not doing something on my own, if it was not for a startup, I would be a product manager. Because product management is a bit of everything. It's like being the owner of the product that you're running. It requires a bit of technology, bit of business understanding, and managing stakeholders across the board. So it was kind of the right fit for me. And when I was doing the startup, I was purely technical, and I had wanted some exposure to the business side of things, which I thought product management will give me the right mix. And then I ended up joining InMobi. And ever since then, I've been with the company. It's been 7.5 years. I've pretty much worked on every product that's out there in the mobile advertising space, be it demand side, supply side, attribution, analytics, data. Kind of done most of that. Built products from scratch, scaled products to global levels. And yeah, it's been a wonderful journey so far.
Programmatic advertising has become quite sophisticated over the past years. Also, there is a higher demand for customized and tailored solutions. My question is, how do you close the gap between technical and business parts?
Yeah, I mean, programmatic in the last few years has grown quite a bit. At InMobi also, we have a mix of both. We invested in programmatic about 4 or 5 years back, and it has paid out. Paid quite well for us. It's been huge within the company itself. How we have been able to grow programmatic business overall. So what we do is we embrace programmatic. We build products that are programmatic based. So while working on customer solutions, client solutions are important, tailored solutions. It does bring in that unique perspective from a customer side of things. But when you're looking to scale something 10x, 100x, tailored solutions usually don't work. They don't scale too well. That's where programmatic comes into picture. Programmatic helps you automate a bunch of process within the advertising ecosystem itself. And that helps you scale faster than anything else. And that's kind of what we have started doing as well. An example would be you working with individual brands and helping them meet their customer needs. Their needs. We do that. But if you are able to bring programmatic into that mix, the whole process of working with multiple brands becomes that much easier and faster. So programmatic is means for you to scale any business in that advertising ecosystem, and most of the scale business in ad tech have moved programmatic. Ad networks are far and few. InMobi was an ad network for the longest time. We started as an ad network, but as and when programmatic began to rise, we were experimenting with it about 3-4 years back, 5 years back, in fact. But we kind of moved completely out of the ad network business model, and now we are completely programmatic across both demand and supply sides, and that's helped us, go with the trend and also scale up massively.
Prajwal, I would be really keen to hear your predictions for OTT and CTV advertising market growth.
Yeah, this is one of the most spoken about topics in the advertising ecosystem, OTT, CTV, and InMobi as well is working on a bunch of products in the CTV ecosystem. I manage a team which is focused on innovating on the CTV side. The predictions, you can do a lot of predictions, but it's good to understand how this market is different from anything else, right? So you're looking at connected TV or advanced TV, which is the umbrella term used for, or a lot of people are calling it convergent TV. The movement from linear digital towards connected television is slightly different from how traditional screens work, be it mobile or be it desktop or any other forms of advertising that we used to do. The difference is mainly in the premiumness of these channels. TV is one of those channels where people spend a lot of time in front of that, right? Like while mobile is also something that people use, quite a bit of time spent on mobile. Television has been traditionally, viewed by people for a long time, sitting on the couch, and advertising has not been dynamic in nature, which means that on mobile you see dynamic ads, you see personalized ads. Everybody seeing at the same time on mobile will have different kinds of advertising. Traditional TV did not have that, and that's moving towards digital. So you can now personalize and tailor ads. But at the end of the day, in the television ecosystem, you have a lot lesser number of publishers, a lot more number of brands who want to advertise. So the ecosystem is skewed towards supply constraint, what we call constraints in terms of the supply, which means that there are fewer publishers that you want to work with, and there are a lot more brands who want to reach users. So that makes it slightly different in terms of how independent companies can work with the CTV ecosystem. What's happening recently in this, because of the scale up of advertising on connected TV, is also a lot of fraud in the ecosystem, right? Like there is because the supply is constrained, people are making up inventory which is not there. And you see the top connected TV channels, like Netflix, Amazons of the world, they don't do advertising yet. So there is a lot of things that will happen for that to work out and get enough inventory. But I think what's going to be a few things that will change over the next 1 year, at least from predictions from my side, is addressability is going to increase. What I mean by that is every television is going to be more addressable, and when addressability is a term used by basically used as targetable, right? You can run targeted advertising. You know what that channel is. You know more about the television than anything else. So television is going to be more addressable, and data is going to play a big important role in all of this. And publishers owning that data are going to be holding onto a gold mine here. And that is something that has happened on the mobile side as well. Data is the fuel for a lot in advertising, and no difference in connected TV. That's going to play a big part as well. Now, all publishers, I mean, when I talk about data, it's about content as well as user data, right? Like in connected TV, you need to know what the user is watching. Is it a movie? Is it a TV show? Is it comedy? Is it live stream? What kind of content is it? That becomes important. So that is the second thing, data addressability. What is also going to happen on the demand side is converging, bias across traditional and connected. At the end of the day, brands want to reach users, and users are both on connected TV. They are also on traditional TV with set-top boxes. As and when traditional TV becomes programmatic and digital, buyers need to find a way to reach these users, whichever channel they are on. So a lot of linear TV is going to go digital, and connected TV is going to grow. And there are going to be companies which try to bridge the gap between traditional, linear, and digital connected TV. And that's going to help in making a lot of connected TV or TV advertising programmatic. So that's the third thing that's important. The last final thing is definitely around fraud, privacy. That's important because any channel that grows rapidly requires you to have certain controls, certain ways to make sure that the trading is happening in legit ways. We see already that there are a bunch of fraudulent players in the market trying to make use of this growing ecosystem. So there will be a lot of players who come and then make sure that this is going to reduce, right? So anti-fraud players will come up and then make sure that all the transactions are in the digital connected TV ecosystem are all valid. So yeah, those are kind of 4 things that I would like to talk about when it comes to CTV.
How do you differentiate your offerings for publishers from others available on the market?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and I mean, we spend a lot of time thinking about it, building products that differentiate ourselves from the rest of the players in the market as InMobi. The few things that make us differentiated is we are mobile first, and while there are a lot of advertising companies that have that do mobile, they also do a bunch of other channels. Like we for the right reasons have not gotten into desktop and any other forms of advertising. We have stuck to mobile. We started off as a mobile advertising company, and through the growth of mobile, we have stuck to it, right? And that has helped us bring focus into everything that we do while mobile has grown. There was a time when brands were apprehensive about advertising on mobile. Now that's kind of changed. The last 2 years has been all about how do you tap into user base which is on mobile. People spend the most time on their phones, and InMobi being one of the earlier players in the mobile advertising, we stuck to it and we continued doing that. So we differentiate ourselves from being mobile first and mobile only. While connected TV is a growing ecosystem similar to mobile, we still are the one of the largest mobile marketing and advertising players globally. That is one. And the second thing that we have done very well is we have a product that is global in nature. We have a presence that is global. We are strong in Asia Pacific. We are very strong in the US. We have offices in EMEA and even in China. So being global makes it interesting for a lot of customers to work with us. Specifically on the business unit that I manage on the product side, which is InMobi Exchange, which is our publisher solutions. We provide. We are one of the few people who have an SDK based solution, and we are also one of the very few players who are a completely transparent, ad exchange or marketplace. We compare ourselves or compete ourselves with the likes of Google, AdMob, which is Twitter. MoPub, which is Twitter, Google, which is AdMob, and a few others in the industry. Publishers look for exchanges which are more neutral and independent. Google, for example, runs a publisher stack. They also run marketplace, so they have a bias of running both. So does MoPub. They run a mediation stack coupled with their own exchange. While InMobi is a pure play exchange on the publisher side. We do not mediate. We are not a platform to publishers. We work with we work with Google. We work with Twitter. We work with every other partner out there. And you can't say the same with for others. Like Google doesn't work with Facebook. Facebook doesn't work with Twitter. Twitter doesn't work with either of them. So there is always this problem of large companies not being able to work with other large companies because of how they have built their products. And we consciously took a call to be neutral and not compete with the likes of them, but work with them. So we are integrated with all the players in the market, and we are transparent when it comes to our offering to the publishers. And that's how we primarily differentiate ourselves. There are other players in the market who do this as well, but they are not mobile only. They do everything, right? And there is always merit in doing one thing well, which is and what you're known for. And InMobi is known for doing mobile really well. So with that, I think those are the two things which help us differentiate ourselves from the other people in the market when we go to a publisher.
Right now, many people work remotely. Could you share with us a successful case study of managing distributed teams and making sure people adhere to the company's culture?
Yeah, I mean, a bit of background there. InMobi that way is completely distributed, as I probably mentioned. We have global teams, like for example, the team that I manage is in East Coast in the US, is West Coast in the US, it's in London. Then there are people in Bangalore. So there are like 4 different locations that our team sits in. And being remote helps that way because anyway we are a team which is diverse and which is already distributed. And we had started working remotely in terms of collaboration because if you are in the US and you have a team in Bangalore, you obviously can't be in the same location same time. You used to travel, but a lot of the work always used to happen through meetings digitally. So that was always something that we were doing. But when the pandemic hit, it became even more important to be disciplined. So I think few things that I would say are important when you're working remotely is around around focus and prioritization, right? And especially this is I brought this up earlier when we were talking. In industries which are large and sometimes volatile, and advertising is one such industry, you need to always look at a roadmap. You should have something for 1 year, and you should also be open to shifting priorities quarter by quarter, depending on how market movement happens. So that it's very important to adjust to priorities and have the right focus on delivering outcomes. And in COVID times and remote days, this becomes even more necessary because you have a lot more time in your hand, and if you do not have the right priorities and focus, it's very easy to lose sight of your entire goal. So the first thing that we as a company and I also did was to make sure we are going after the right goals and focusing on the right priorities, set objectives. And not straying away from any of those. What is also important is in any business or a product is to have very strong unit economics that is backing your product. A lot of companies stray and then they usually are not successful because their unit economics is not strong. If that is something that you focus on quite a bit, then the rest is around just execution. If your unit economics are strong on a product, it's more about scaling that product rather than looking at product market fit also. So we spend a lot of time to make sure that our business model and unit economics is right. And being in advertising and having done that for quite some time, that comes naturally to a lot of us. But in general, you need to be getting into products and businesses which have strong backing when it comes to unit economics and not losing money. There are a lot of companies where you might be making money, but top line, but at the end of the day, you're in losses or you're in debt or your unit economics don't work. And at scale, it never works. So that is one thing that large companies or even startups looking at scaling should need to worry about. The third point is around investing in the right people and culture. Mm-hmm. And especially during these times, it's important to hold people accountable. And while you give them freedom and responsibility. Freedom comes with its own advantages and disadvantages. So while the advantages being, people are responsible for what they do, and because you are giving them enough to do, they feel that they need to put in everything they have to get that stuff done. However, that can lead to some issues as well. So I would say holding every person accountable, even when you give them enough freedom, makes it easier to manage all of them in this time at least. Everybody has a lot of time at hand now, and they need to be making sure that they spend the right amount of time in doing stuff. You can't, I mean, there were times during COVID that people used to work like 15-hour days, like 20-hour days. People didn't know what was night, what was day, especially working remote. I had this problem when I was working with the Indian team, right? It was, what was day, what was night. There was no set routine. Everybody took about 1 or 2 months to get used to it. And that shift also was important, to make sure that you give enough time to yourself and take days off when necessary to cool off. And that, as a company also, we have done quite a bit. I think a lot of companies have done that as well, where taking a week off, taking a day off in between, no meeting days. So all of these are cultural things that every company is trying to do, and is very important to make sure that you don't burn out. Because working from home, while it has its advantages, the few disadvantages being you burn out quite a bit, because you don't have that division between what is work and what is personal life. So yeah, that again goes back to how you build your culture, and how as a company you give freedom to people to either take off or work in the times they want to.
Digital marketing and digital advertising is a very competitive market. My question is, how do you differentiate yourself, and what does the innovation frontier look like at InMobi in order to stay relevant to your clients?
Yeah, sure. I think this is one thing that InMobi does really well. Every person at InMobi has the entrepreneurial spirit. There are so many new ideas floating around that it is pretty much impossible to nurture everything. But however, the founders have done a great job in picking some things and then building big businesses, even companies out of it. I just wanted to give you a sense of what InMobi does outside of marketing. InMobi as a group company has another independent company called Glance. It's a B2C company. It's based in Bangalore in India, and it's a consumer product. This product, as I remember, started as a small hack, as a small thing that a few people wanted to do about 4 or 5 years back. And this was within a large company called InMobi, right? InMobi was into advertising. The goal was to tap into a mobile screen that was very less utilized, which is the lock screen. Everybody uses the lock screen in different ways. Like, people keep unlocking their phones. They see the lock screen, but there's nothing else to do on that lock screen apart from just unlocking the phone and moving on to what you want to do inside your phone. So, InMobi being mobile leaders, we wanted to do something to, capitalize that time that is spent on users locking and unlocking the phone. So you do spend a lot of time looking at your lock screen, and there is only one wallpaper there. It started off as how can I make that more interesting, and a product was built around how do you bring content into lock screen. When you keep trying to lock and unlock phone, we started showing different stories on the lock screen in Android phones. Things that are relevant to you, things that are happening around you, news articles, sports articles, all of that, and videos on lock screen. So Glance started that way as a small product. Then it's currently a $1 billion company. About a month back, this product in this company raised $150 million from Google. And this is the second round of funding, first being from Mithril Ventures and second being Google and Mithril together. So that's a small example. It's a large example, but one of the examples in which there was an innovative product that was built and that was scaled into a $1 billion startup. And there are multiple examples like that happening as we speak at InMobi. On the advertising space, we are working on a lot of innovative data-driven products. We have a big publisher network, we have an SDK, and we have consented data. And how can we use that to better service our advertisers is something that we always keep doing. And as a part of that, there are innovative ideas coming, products coming. It takes time to bring that product into a place where you can scale it up and call it a big business in itself. But I can quote multiple examples of such things. In pockets, there are at least 10 different projects happening within the company. Out of which one or two at some point in time will break out and possibly become its own business, its own company also. Just wanted to quote that example because that's so much relevant to a lot of companies now and how innovation is honed at InMobi at least.